I love this next story because of how stunningly out of touch it is. New California GOP seizes Dem calls for single-payer healthcare as attack opportunity. Oh, boy. See, this is where if I was running Democratic campaigns, I'd be like, yummy, yummy in my tummy. Please, attack on that front. Can you imagine, like, my opponent wants people to have health care. Disgusting. It's like, yeah, I do. You don't? Okay, so here's what they say. Republicans are seizing on Democratic demands for a single-payer health system as an attack line in California, arguing that candidates backing the issue spearheaded by Senator Bernie Sanders are out of step with their districts. Quote, my opponent wants socialized medicine and government-run health care, Representative Mimi Waters, a GOP incumbent and top Democratic target, told The Hill. Quote, the district does not support it. Walters represents one of 7 GOP-held seats in California that Hillary Clinton won in 2016 the Democrats are seeking to take back. If Republicans lose those seats, it would greatly increase the chances that the GOP loses the House. Republicans say that Democratic candidates might have done well in crowded primaries running on Medicare for All when they needed to move to the left, but they say that position will be a major drag in a general election decided by more centrist voters. Okay, here's where a good professor writes on the exam, citation needed. That's what goes right there. Because that's the same shit Democratic strategists have been feeding us since the 1980s. At every step of the way, it's been proven objectively incorrect. But they keep repeating it. They keep repeating it. Hey guys, if that was true, well, obviously, in the primary, you have to run to the left, and in the general, you have to run to the right. That's the way it works. So hold on. What you're saying is, our strategy is lying. In the primary, we say one thing. In the general, we say the opposite. What you call a general election pivot, regular people call lying. You're saying the opposite today of what you said a week ago. That's a lie. You're lying. Which is it? Did you support what you said a week ago, or do you support what you say today? You're lying. One of the times you said it, you don't believe that thing you said. So you're a liar. That's what you are. And under this strategy of, run to the left in the primary, run to the right in the general, we lost 1,000 seats under Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Barack Obama. That's what happened. So you have, let me get this straight. You have a Republican president, Donald Trump. You have the Republicans have a majority in the Senate. They have a majority in the House. They have a majority of governorships. They have a majority of state legislatures. They control everything. The Democrats this entire time have been doing this strategy. Oh, run to the right, attract the centrists in the general. And they lost every time. And then now the dumbass Democratic strategists are like, look at these guys. They're crazy. They run on Medicare for All. Now they don't want to be against it in the general. Oh, your guys are going to lose. That's what's going to happen. How much evidence do you need that you're wrong? Let's talk about the poll numbers. Over 60% of the American people support Medicare for All. 61%, in fact. Depending on what poll you look at, about 80% of Democrats support Medicare for All. But here's the kicker. They're talking about how, these are slight majority Republican districts. So that's why they're like, you can't run on that issue. According to a recent poll, there are more Republicans that support Medicare for All than do not. Do you understand that? So a plurality of Republicans. More Republicans support Medicare for All than don't support Medicare for All. You know what that means? And this is the problem with Democrats. When they say, my opponent supports socialized medicine, government-run healthcare. That's where you go, yes, I do. It's called Medicare for All. It covers everybody and it costs less money. You don't support it? You don't? And you go on the attack. My opponent is fine with 45,000 people dying every year because they don't have access to health care. My opponent is fine with skyrocketing costs for health care, skyrocketing premiums for health care. My opponent is fine with 20 to 30 million people who are uninsured. Do you not understand that you have the ability to counterattack? That you have a mouth that fucking works and you can make noises with it and you can go on the offense? But no, what do? They ran on Medicare for All in the primary and won. Doesn't that tell you something? They ran and won on it. Obviously, we need to say the opposite in the general. And I love how the framing of the Politico article is framed from the perspective of like, well, obviously the establishment people are right. Because they're like, look, see, the Republicans are attacking over Medicare for all. We told you, Bernie. I look at that as an opportunity. You're going to attack me over a position I have that's overwhelmingly popular. Go on the offense. I would love it if I was running for office and they attacked me believing in Medicare for all. I'd be like, you're goddamn right I believe in Medicare for all. Absolutely. It saves $17 trillion. It covers everybody. It gives better health outcomes. It'll stop 45,000 people dying every year because they don't have access to basic health care. I want to save those 45,000 people. Apparently you don't. You want to kill those 45,000 people. You want to sentence them to die, you heartless bastard. The United States is the only developed country that doesn't have Medicare for all. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? But they're so pathetic that, listen, man, all I can say is this. I hope that all these candidates can see this segment and me talking and giving them their advice here. Because if they don't hear me, they don't hear somebody like me making this point, they're going to lose. Because they're going to listen to these Democratic strategists, and they're going to backpedal, and they're going to be like, did I say socialized medicine? See, what happened was I said I was willing to meet halfway and maybe do a public option. And all people will sense is the weakness in those Democratic candidates. And then the Republicans will win because the Democrats will be weak and also piss off their base by not sticking by their guns. So I hope on everything they see this segment. Because if they see this segment, then they can win if they take my advice. If they don't take my advice, they could easily lose. But I look at this as a fucking opportunity. Are you kidding me? You're going to attack me on my strength? Fucking thank you. That's glorious. Can you imagine? That's like somebody saying, my opponent wants people to have a living wage. Ugh, gross. That's your attack on me? Thank you. That's when I respond, absolutely, I do. I'm in favor of a living wage. I think if people work a full-time job, they should have enough money to survive and pay all their bills. And that makes sense. You're not for that? How frustrating are these Democratic strategists, man? It's embarrassing.